Hey guys, Breezy CPA here, your certified public accountant, back with another video. Thank you to all the people who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already to the channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified for any new videos. In this video, we're going to be talking about this article that I came across that says how the CPA license is stacking up globally and is the US falling behind when it comes to the CPA license. If you don't know already, the CPA license, sitting for the CPA examination, it's now available in over 19 different countries. And as a result, there are some different requirements and qualifications for these different countries depending on where you are taking your exam, and mainly related to the 150-hour rule and the requirements for getting the official CPA license. So, taking a look at this article here, the writer of this article says, "For years, I've helped CPA candidates across the country, many of them talented, hardworking, and deeply committed to the profession. And yet, one of the most common hurdles I see is preparing for the CPA exam itself. It's the 150-hour education requirement. At first glance, it seems straightforward. To be licensed CPA in the US, you need to complete 150 college credit hours, typically 1 year beyond a bachelor's degree. But dig a little deeper, and it becomes clear that this extra originally designed to raise the accounting standard is starting to feel outdated in today's fast moving global economy. So, myself as a CPA exam instructor, I come across this as well with my students from around the globe. We had the 150-hour college credit requirement that was the standard for a number of years here in the United States. And now, thankfully, that is starting to change as many states are adopting the new 120-hour requirement, basically eliminating 30 college credit hours that you required previously in order to get your CPA license. So, this rule for the 150 hours was first introduced in the 1980s to elevate the accounting profession. And it certainly did that because it set the bar for qualifying to become a CPA a lot higher, in that you basically had to either get a master's or get these 30 extra hours of college credit in order to become a CPA, thus setting the threshold for becoming a CPA higher, right? But now we are in a situation where the accounting profession is struggling to get accountants and CPAs back into the accounting profession itself. So they are trying to lower these standards. Also, with a lot of these international students now taking the CPA exam in these other countries, they do not require this 150-hour rule. So you're going to require the 150-hour for US students, but you are not going to require it for students in other countries. That just doesn't seem fair. So, what they're trying to do here, the thinking was simple: more education equals more competent professionals by the early 2000s, and it was widely adopted, the 150-hour rule. Then every US state required 150 hours for CPA licensure, although most allow candidates to sit for the exam now with 120 credits. But the extra 30 credit hours often doesn't translate to better accountants, and I agree with this. Those 30 extra credit hours were a burden for a lot of the people who wanted to sit for the CPA exam, including myself when I took the CPA exam back in the day, because you basically, I had a minor in accounting, and you basically learned everything you needed to know to sit for the CPA exam. I could have easily passed the CPA exam just with my minor in accounting. Those 30 extra credit hours really didn't affect anything when it came to my exam scores or me being a better accountant. It was honestly just a burden and extra money and time that you had to put in for basically no reason, in my opinion. Many students meet the requirement for cobbling together unrelated credits. So a lot of students, they'll basically take some extracurricular classes that meet the requirements for the CPA exam, but don't even really relate to what the CPA exam is itself, just to get those 30 extra credit hours. Sometimes they come from community colleges, online courses, or even continuing education programs. They are gained solely to satisfy the rule and can cost thousands of dollars, potentially delaying entry into the workforce. And that's certainly the case. It would cost you thousands of dollars to get these 30 extra credit hours. You would have to go to these classes. You would have to take those exams and pass those classes with passing grades. And only then would you be able to sit for your CPA exam. And all of this is usually after you finished college. So now you're in the workforce, or you're trying to get in the workforce. So it's taking time away from these students that could potentially be working during this time, or doing something more productive. I found that for many candidates, especially those from low income backgrounds or those changing careers, it's a major barrier, and the profession is starting to feel the effects. So, the a shrinking pipeline and a growing push for reform. The CPA pipeline is shrinking fast. According to the AICPA, the number of CPA exam candidates in the US continues to drop, and accounting enrollments at US universities are down across the board, and it's hard not to connect the dots. States are beginning to take action. Minnesota was the first state to implement this 120-hour rule versus the 150-hour rule in 2025, when it passed legislation introducing two new CPA licensure pathways: a bachelor's degree plus 2 years of experience, or a master's degree plus 1 year of experience. These alternatives will be effective starting January 1st, 2026, and the traditional 150-hour rule will sunset in 2030. So we now have a number of states that have implemented the new 120-hour rule, thank goodness. And there are more states on the way that are taking this new legislation into effect. They are not alone. South Carolina passed a similar bill that goes into effect June 2025, allowing CPA candidates to qualify with a bachelor's degree, 2 years of professional experience, and passing the CPA exam score. Oregon also enacted a reform that offers the same experience based alternative while preserving the traditional pathways. So the traditional pathway will still be a route that you can take, but now the states are offering you an alternative pathway to that traditional method in order to get more accountants into the profession. In total, more than a dozen states, including Texas, Tennessee, Indiana, Iowa, Georgia, Virginia, Utah, have introduced or passed legislation offering alternative routes to licensure. The common thread is flexibility, not lower standards. So they want to increase the options for CPA exam candidates while not lowering the standards of the profession. Even the NASBA and the AICPA, longtime supporters of the 150-hour requirement, have acknowledged the need for change. In May 2025, they approved a proposal to add an alternative pathway to the Uniform Accountancy Act: a bachelor's degree, 2 years of supervised experience, and the passage of the CPA exam. So, how do other countries handle this 150-hour rule and the requirements for the CPA? As I mentioned, there are 19 countries around the world recently, including the Philippines, which was the most recent addition, that offer international testing locations for the US CPA exam. So these countries include Brazil, Egypt, England, Germany, India, Israel, Japan, Jordan, Kuwait, the Philippines now, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, South Korea, Scotland. So Canada, CPA candidates complete a bachelor's degree and enroll in the CPA PEP program, which blends coursework with practical experience, and there is no 150-hour rule. In the United Kingdom, the aspiring chartered accountants qualify through a combination of degree and structured training contract with a firm. The emphasis is on real world apprenticeship, not the extra classroom hours. So these are the different CPA requirements for these different countries. And we can see that Canada does not require the 150-hour rule. The United Kingdom emphasizes real world experience, not the classroom hours. Australia, candidates earn a degree, complete the CA program, and then they work in the field. Again, there is no fixed number of academic hours that is required. And in India, the chartered accountant path relies heavily on the examinations and a multi year internship period. No college credit hours are required at all. So you can see the difference between the US requirements with the 150-hour rule versus some of these other countries. So across the board, the international systems place more weight on the professional experience and performance than they do on the academic benchmarks. And I fully agree that that should be the focus. We all know that nothing replaces real world experience. No matter what job you have, you can go into the classroom and study as much as you want, but until you're on the job and you're actually doing the work, you are not going to get the actual real life experience needed to do that job. So, is it time for the US to catch up? The accounting profession is evolving globally. Firms are embracing hybrid work, integrating AI into audits, and hiring from broader, more diverse pipelines. But in the US, our licensing model hasn't caught up. While we ask students to invest more money and time into academic coursework, other countries are promoting flexible, work based models that are more inclusive and responsive to economic realities. So it is time that the US catches up, and I'm happy to see that a lot of states are now offering this alternative pathway to students to get more people into the accounting profession. I believe that we're just at the beginning of the wave of reform as staffing shortages worsen and firms struggle to fill entry level roles. More states will follow Minnesota, South Carolina, Oregon, and a handful of others. I believe New York recently implemented a new licensure pathway. We may even see a national or international push towards standardizing and modernizing the CPA licensure. For now, the 150-hour rule remains in place in most of the states, but the momentum is shifting. And as someone who went through the process, I am optimistic. I'm someone that went through the process. I'm also optimistic that the necessary changes will come in the future because, at its core, this profession thrives not on gatekeeping but by cultivating talent, skill, and integrity however it finds them. So let me know what you guys think about this, whether the US is behind when it comes to the standards and requirements that they are asking of students in order to become a CPA in the United States compared to these other countries. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in becoming a CPA, learning more about accounting, make sure to visit breezycpa.com. Check the description for the link. You can use promo code Breezy20 to get 20% off your courses and start your way on to becoming a certified public accountant and joining this industry that is struggling, but making changes in the right direction in order to get people back into this profession. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.